Hi guys. Yesterday many of you asked me about how do we find the minimum and the maximum. Uh, so I will be explaining it in this video. If I have a quadratic function which is of the form y equal ax squared plus bx plus c, graphically I can represent this either by like a U shape, and its concavity will be upward if a is greater than 0, or it will be a U shape where its concavity is downward if a is less than 0. And as you can see in both shape, in here we have some point which we call it the minimum, and if the concavity is downward we have a point in here where we call it the maximum. Now, for a parabola, we know also that there is an axe of symmetry, a vertical line, an axe of symmetry, which divide this parabola into a symmetrical shape, and this is where the maximum or the minimum occur. Now this point, if I want to ask you about only the maximum or the minimum, you check the y value only for this point. Because like an example, if I draw this parabola, let's say in here, this is the minimum point. So this is the y value which can have the least number or value in this shape. How can I find this one? If I want to find the y value, first of all, I have to replace x by minus b over 2a, and then go back and replace this value of x in its value in the function and find the value of y, where this value will be the minimum or the maximum. So it depends whether they ask you about to find the minimum value only, which means only the y value for this point, or whether they want to find the points or the coordinates of the point of the minimum and the maximum. This is graphically. Okay, this is how can I find it graphically. Now, when we explained yesterday the completing the square, after we finish it, we can write this y or this expression of any quadratic of the form, let's say x minus h squared plus k. When I write my quadratic function in this form, then this value of k in here will be my minimum, or my maximum is if the coefficient of x squared when I expand is positive or negative, which means if the value of here, the coefficient of x squared, if it's positive, then a minimum will occur. If it's negative, then a maximum will occur. Now, either you can tell me if they want the value of the minimum or the maximum, it will be immediately this value of k. If they want the coordinates, of the point where the maximum or the minimum occur, it will be h and then k. So always h will be opposite to its value over there. So if it's minus h, it will be h. If it will be x plus h, it will be minus h and then k. So in case I have the completing the square form, the maximum and the minimum, I can get it immediately from this form as its hk form. Okay, I do not have to draw, I do not have to do the derivative. So directly I can find what are the values of the minimum or the maximum, or what are the coordinates of this point where the minimum and the maximum occur. So hopefully it will give you an idea of what I was talking about earlier, and this is the explanation. Okay, one last thing, why k is a minimum and the maximum? How could I find it? When I write a quadratic function in this form, I know that this value over here, the square value, can either be 0 or any positive value, so x minus h to the power 2 is always greater or equal to 0. So what is the least value that x minus h squared can be? It's 0. And it can be 0 when x is equal to h. Okay, so if this is 0, what will be the value of y? If this whole amount x minus h squared is 0, what will be the value of y? It will be k. So k is the minimum and the maximum. It occurs for the value of x, which makes x minus h squared equal to 0.